Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is first up the live stream today. Obviously, I'm going to do a double live stream. After this, I will be doing my, obviously, Trans Amadasi through, then my players Champions Finals preview. But this live stream is Formula 1, of course. The Formula 1 Las Vegas 2023 review. And I'll be doing my Abu Dhabi Grand Prix preview in the same stream. And of course, it is obviously going to be the finale in Abu Dhabi. Well, there's not finale really. Let's be real, when it's been so dominant this season. So, but yeah, let's get straight into it. Where we were in Las Vegas this past weekend. First time we were in Las Vegas for over 40 odd years for an F1 for Formula 1 Grand Prix. Look, I've had my opinions on this Grand Prix. And I still stick by my opinion that it shouldn't went ahead. It shouldn't went ahead this Grand Prix. Because manhole covers are a dangerous thing. They are dangerous in F1. If you don't know what manhole covers are, they are basically used train covers. It's not just that. That was one with the track. We saw Lando Norris crossing the weights due to a bump on the track that has been on the track for the whole weekend, for the whole Grand Prix weekend, and Lando Norris suffered a bit of a horrific crash, and I thought I would address this straight away. It's simply not right at all. I cannot be why people are not talking about it. Obviously, the old Lando Norris is okay, but the bump was on that track for the whole weekend. It could have been worse for Lando. Norris. And what's so good about Lando Norris is it's like it pretend it never happened. You see photos of him and he's pretty smiling, and he's smiling in hospital now without on the stretcher. So I think we're sort of taught in this Grand Prix, to be honest with you. A lot of people on the bouncy castle saying, "Oh, what a Grand Prix it was at St. Park," and Red Bull obviously not winning that convincingly. To be fair, didn't win that convincingly. To be fair, Red Bull still comfortable in the end, but only in the end. But we still need to address the problems with the circuit, and for me, it only went ahead. I think we need to start having the door at Formula 1 because it only went ahead because they're won by Americans. And look, after the Grand Prix, most of the Grand Prix in F1 this season are in America. Miami, Austin, and now Las Vegas. There'll be another American Grand Prix as well because it's won by Americans. Jordan Sargent is probably the cheapest place at Williams because they need an American driver in F1. And but again, they are the issues we need to address. And Carlos Sainz still got the penalty as well. Which was absolutely ludicrous when it wasn't his fault. But he put in a good waste performance for a good damage limitation waste performance, especially with the penalty as well. So let's get straight into it. Starting off with obviously the winning team, Red Bull, Max Verstappen, picking up the win, which is his 18th. Wow. Which is his 18th win out of 21 races this season. Obviously, I think it will be 19 out of 22. I do think he wins in Abu Dhabi as well for the final race. But Max Verstappen started. Didn't we have it the wrong way, Red Bull, in terms of qualifying? But I was right in my preview to say that Red Bull straight line speed will suit Red Bull, and that was right in the end, especially with the DRS as well. It was too powerful for the others to even defend against them, especially Max Verstappen as well. Didn't have it their own way in qualifying. didn't win that comfortably either. Max Verstappen only won by 2 seconds. As Perez is passed by another driver in back-to-back races on the final lap. But then this time last race it was in Brazil. Obviously, it was in Brazil. Then Fernando Alonso, and now it's against Charles Leclerc on final lap as well. And people are gonna look forward to what I say about Charles Leclerc, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that soon enough. And but yeah, it wasn't the most dominant win from Red Bull. It was one of the most least dominant wins from Red Bull, but they got the job done. Red Bull, Max Verstappen, he was always going to win, in my opinion. No matter what, he was always going to win. He does it when it really matters. He does it when it matters as well. Max Verstappen, he does it when it matters as well. And Perez, still a brilliant race from Sergio Perez after an awful qualifying from Perez to make his way up onto the podium as well. But obviously, that straight line speed just suited Red Bull, didn't it? Too powerful for the others to defend. But Perez, again, I don't think he'd be too happy about. I just don't think Perez. Again, I don't think his team will be happy with Perez about being part on the final lap again. But the main thing is for Perez, I think his seat is now safe in F1. Well, his seat is safe with Red Bull as he has sealed second place in the Trial Championship. He did seal it in the last race, in the Sergio Perez. But he is under the most pressure next season, Sergio Perez, because I think he'll need to try and keep that second place again next season. But yeah, Red Bull have set a new record. I think it's a new record in the F1 season. 20 race wins from the same constructor in the F1 season. They can make it 21 out of 22 in Abu Dhabi, meaning they only missed out on one race, and that was Singapore, which was won by Carlos Sainz, of course. On to Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton with 6 points, started in 10th, finished in 7th. George Russell, obviously Hamilton did get knocked out in qualifying too, but obviously because of Sainz penalty, he started in 10th. George Russell, very disappointing from George Russell after a very good qualifying from George Russell, and he ends up in 8th. And for me, it's the same old post-race report as most races. Continued struggles from Mercedes, especially since the year where the Airstons came in 2022 and 2023. They've not been at the top at all in terms of winning races, Mercedes, apart from Brazil in 2022, where they won in Sao Paulo under George Russell, when George Russell won that race. So, what is the problems at Mercedes? What is the problems? Is it the car? Is it something with the team? Or is it something else? For me, I've always said it, and Lewis Hamilton fans won't like this, but I just think offering ludicrous wages for Lewis Hamilton to sign a new contract. Of course, Lewis Hamilton's wages aren't going to stay high. Don't be stay high because of his he's past the sets in F1. Obviously, he's done me the same with Max Verstappen at Red Bull, but I think Red Bull can easily offer Max Verstappen wages and still develop the car as well. Obviously, I don't think Red Bull. The thing is, with Red Bull's dominance, I don't think they'll be as dominant as they are in 2026. I think in 2026, the way the Airstons are going to change again in 2026, and we'll see a new team. We'll see someone else obviously have their cycle in terms of winning races and being at the top. I do think Red Bull will dominate. I still think Red Bull will dominate until 2026, in my opinion. Because we're going to see a dominant spell, a dominant cycle from Red Bull. Mercedes got themselves supreme, in my opinion. I think I said it when this team was announced that it's going to be Hamilton and Russell together. I said you're gonna take, it's a very risky lineup, because what's gonna happen is you're gonna have two drivers who want the same thing, who want to be priority at Mercedes. And that is what both drivers are. Both drivers want to be priority. Russell may say, "Oh, yeah, I'm just learning of US." He isn't. He isn't. He wants to be number one at Mercedes. And often Lewis Hamilton, Uterus races, sky high Uterus races, is affecting Mercedes' development in car performance in 2022 and 2023, in my opinion. It's a coincidence. I'm sorry, but it's a coincidence. Whenever Mercedes seems to offer Lewis Hamilton a new contract, all of a sudden, a downfall starts for Mercedes. Same in 2021, when he missed out. Obviously, it was before he missed out on that 2021 title. But coincidence, it's simple. These variations at the moment just don't suit Lewis Hamilton. And if I'm Mercedes, you need to do something. You need to do something about it. George Russell suits these variations more than Lewis Hamilton, because these variations suit the likes of Russell, Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, because they've done all the simulators with these variations. And that is a problem at Mercedes. That is a problem. And I don't see anything changing next season or the season after with the same lineup. With a winning team to win championships, Mercedes have proved it, that you need Hamilton as number one and Bottas, as you didn't pay, as number two. Red Bull with Verstappen and Perez. Red Bull with them with Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber. It shows you need a number two who's happy to be number two. Which is why I don't think McLaren are going to be closest chances to Red Bull. Well, there will be, but I don't think they'll be anywhere near in terms of being in the title race, McLaren. Because Norris and Piastri, both of them are going to be wanting to be number one as well at that team. I don't know, maybe this is where we're heading to now, where you don't get two drivers wanting to be number one. But it just simply doesn't work for me. It doesn't work. All it's going to bring is toxicity in the end, and I think it's going to start to turn toxic on Mercedes. And we saw what happened to Qatar with Hamilton and Russell. They ended up TI'd into the first corner. That's what can happen. Which is why I don't think Ferrari, Mercedes, or McLaren don't be anywhere near. I'm going to make a bold statement right now. If Aston Martin can sort itself out, well, we'll speak about Aston Martin yet one. So we'll move on now. That's what I think Mercedes struggles are. In terms of Ferrari, Charles Leclerc starting on pole. Charles Leclerc is doing Charles Leclerc things, starting on pole, and then still doesn't end up winning the race. Finishing second, Carlos Sainz. Like I said earlier, dance invitation for Carlos Sainz. Good race in the end for Carlos Sainz from 12th to 6th. Overall, I'm going to say something right now. Overall, good weekend for Charles Leclerc. Despite, I think, I still stick on my point that standards should be higher, not mediocrity. It should be higher for me. Ferrari, I'm sorry, people, they were the best prepared team going into the 2022 season. They failed that season. They should have won it. They should have won both championships that season. Even Red Bull would have said that as well. Red Bull going into 2022 season would have thought, we're going to be behind Ferrari here in terms of this season. We're going to be chancing Ferrari, but look, but I will say something now. it was a dud waste from Charles Leclerc, dud waste, because with how good Max Verstappen is, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. Yes, we can all talk about bit of a dirty tactic from Max Verstappen when, especially when the lights went out into turn one, where Max Verstappen always seems to do whenever he's on the inside, he always seems to break a bit yet, doesn't he? Far too yet. Break far too yet, and yeah, I do have to question Max Verstappen there, because he was turning right, yes, be real. He was turning right so he can push Charles Leclerc off. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, because I love Max Verstappen's attitude. I love his mentality. Do all you can to win. Do all you can to keep hold of that pace. It happens in F1. Every driver's done it. Every driver's done it. So I do feel for Charles Leclerc in that sense, but it's what Verstappen does. He's a winner. Winner, people. He's a winner. Winner, mentality-wise. All these snowflakes saying, "Oh, he should get a penalty. He should get a penalty." I agree. By the way, I do agree. He should get a penalty, but it's the FIA for you, and what can you do? But Max Verstappen is a winner. That's his mindset. He's a winner. Do all you can to keep hold of that pace. But I can't criticise Charles Leclerc too much. I can't, because he actually had a good race. Overtaking Perez on the final lap as well. And you have to say it is going to be difficult for him, especially when he's on pole ahead of Max Verstappen, that I don't know where you win the race. So I will kind of get him off, but I still don't think he's done enough, Charles Leclerc. I still think he's a wasted talent in F1, and people will be like, "Oh, here we go." Well, he is. I'm sorry, but he's had plenty of years now, Charles Leclerc at Ferrari. 2019, anyone remember that? 2019? He actually should have done better. Because Ferrari were in that race with Mercedes. They were in there. And Charles Leclerc should have done better. Obviously, but the main one for me is 2022. Charles Leclerc should be a world champion now. He really should be. But he's too mistake prone. And so are his team. So are his team. His team are also mistake prone. And that's why I told them Ferrari, because that's what they are. They failed last season. And then they should be cross chances to Red Bull, in my opinion. Because these radiations suit Ferrari to the bone. When they were the best per team. But these torn radiations, come on, people. Standards should be higher, not mediocrity. Even if Ferrari finished second in the final race in constructors, mediocre season for Ferrari. And we'll talk, man. Look, if they would have challenged, and yesterday it was a close title race, I wouldn't be saying this. I wouldn't be saying this at all. But they crumbled like breadcrumbs last year in 2022, halfway through, and ended up being a dominant win from Red Bull. Same again, but this time from the start of the season, it's all been dominant from Red Bull. So for me, I will give Charles Leclerc praise. He had a good race, but standards still need to be higher, not mediocrity. All these pit crew at Ferrari when they overtook Perez on the final lap, all celebrating after pretty won the whole thing. Give over. That's why the standards are in the bin. That's why their team standards are in the bin. For the poster boys of F1, or the poster boys of Formula 1, their standards should be higher than mediocrity, in my opinion. Now on to McLaren. Lando Norris 15th, suffered a DNF. Obviously, that class I talked about earlier. Piastri started 18th, finished 10th. Overall, struggles for McLaren in Las Vegas. Can they really be Red Bull's closest chances next year? I don't think so, in my opinion. I just don't think their car... It's okay having most races where they have been closest chances to Red Bull, but it needs to sustain that for the whole year. And I don't trust McLaren to do that for the whole year of next year, in my opinion. I think they may be there early on with Red Bull, but I think they'll drop off in terms of second half of next year. In my opinion, it's a bit of an early season prediction for next year, isn't it? I just don't think they can sustain it, in my opinion, especially when two drivers want to be number one as well. Aston Martin, back-to-back double points in back-to-back races for Aston Martin. Fernando Alonso with the 2 points, started 9th, finished 9th. Jan Stroll with the driver of the day performance from Jan Stroll, starting 19th and finishing 5th. I'm going to say something right now. There's been rumours about Jan Stroll's dad, who's in charge of Aston Martin, selling Aston Martin shares. Obviously, I think they're done be called a U team next season. Aston Martin as well, done be called a U team next season. And I think it's the right decision from Jan Stroll's dad to sell his shares of Aston Martin. And I tell you what, if Aston Martin get a good enough second driver, I still don't think Jan Stroll's a good enough second driver for Fernando Alonso, in my opinion, despite that driver of their performance. I can see Aston Martin being close to Red Bull for the next upcoming years. People will be like, what? Because if you look at it, start of the season, they came from nowhere, didn't they? To be Red Bull's closest chance for the first few races of the season. We're all like, hang on a minute, where's this came from? We're all like, where's this came from? But then they fell off in the second half of the season as well. It's an interesting one with Jan Stroll because I think he is a number 2 to Fernando Alonso, let's be real. But the problem is, I think he needs to get rid of his dad. I don't think you should get rid of Jan Stroll, in my opinion. I don't think he needs to get rid of Jan Stroll. Maybe get rid of his dad, because his dad is always going to prioritise his son, isn't he? But if his dad leaves F1, does Jan Stroll leave F1 as well? Look, I think Jan Stroll is good enough for F1. I do think he is good enough to be in the F1 seat. Do I think he's good enough for where Aston Martin will want to be in the next upcoming years, to be the new team on the block in terms of fighting at the top? No, I don't think he's good enough, Jan Stroll. But who do Aston Martin go for? Who's going to be happy to be number 2 to Fernando Alonso? That's the only problem. That's the problem you got. So I think they're better off keeping Jan Stroll, in my opinion. Keeping the same team for next year. Get rid of your dad. Get rid of Jan Stroll. Get someone new in charge of the team who will want to progress this team further. Then I tell you what, they could be on Aston Martin. They could be on. And people won't look at Aston Martin next year. But that's just my opinion. Because, look, let's be real. There were Red Bull's close chances for race wins in terms of the first 3 races of the season as well. So, get a car that can sustain that. That's the only problem. Just can they sustain that? And I just don't think they can. It's same as McLaren, really. But at least with this team, Aston Martin, you got a number 1 there in Fernando Alonso and Jan Stroll, who's definitely a number 2. Onto Alpine, Perdazzi, who had a brilliant qualifying, but finished 11th. Esteban Ocon, who had a poor qualifying, but finished in Perdazzi's place, where he started and finished 4th. With another driver of the day performance in the race from Esteban Ocon. Complete contrast in both drivers' weekends. Dazzi winning the qualifying, Esteban Ocon winning the race. Alpine are an interesting one. They've had recent investors from famous sports people, haven't they? And let's see what that investment does for Alpine. I don't think it will make too much of a difference. But for me, Alpine, are always going to be the 6th best team at the moment, behind Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren and Aston Martin, in my opinion. I think they are the 6th best team in F1 now, in my opinion, at this current moment in time. And also, I don't think they've got a new team principal yet, have they? I mean, Benotto, the former Ferrari team principal, has been linked with Alpine for next year. So maybe they're waiting on that. Who knows? On to Williams, Albon. I mean, an unexpected point qualifying from Williams. Look, I said in my preview, what's up for Williams? I think this circuit does suit Williams, but I thought it would suit Williams in one of the settings, whether it's qualifying or the race. And I was right, but I didn't really do a qualifying prediction. I just said Williams would do well in one of the settings because of the straight line speed, because that is Williams' strength. Obviously, that didn't show in the race. They were brought back down to earth because of the speed really of the car, in my opinion. But in qualifying, they just don't have the race car, do the Williams. They just don't have the race car. But in qualifying, superb. Absolutely superb from Williams. Jordan Sargent as well, that's definitely having that should keep his pace now in the Williams team. Qualifying 6th. And obviously, it is won by Americans, Formula 1, so they do want an American driver in there. So, yeah, I do think it's all done with the same lineup as this year for next year, in my opinion. But yeah, brought down back to earth in the race for Williams, but they don't really have a race car, do they, Williams, let's be real. Their strength has been qualifying. AlphaTauri, Ricciardo started 14th, finished 14th. Tsunoda started 20th, finished 18th. A weekend for that, just like most weekends for AlphaTauri this season. And eyes are definitely on next season for AlphaTauri. Alfa Romeo, Bottas started 7th. This is the thing. This is what I said about Alfa Romeo in the past. It always seems to have a good qualifying, don't they? But they're just awful in the race. It's the same for most teams. It seems to have a good time qualifying, but in the race, it's just quite poor. Bottas started 7th, finished 17th in the end. Zhou Guan Yu started 17th, finished 15th. Great qualifying for Bottas, but poor race. And yeah, again, a bit like AlphaTauri in terms of the race, in most seasons, a race with cadet. And finally, on to Haas. Hulkenberg starts 13th, finished 19th. Magnussen had it again. Magnussen had a great qualifying, but then finished 13th. Decent qualifying, but lived up to the name of being the worst team in the grid in the race. And they are joint worst team on the grid along with Alfa Romeo, in my opinion. Which leaves the standings like this. Red Bull 822 points. That is ridiculous, isn't it? Verstappen 549, Perez in second 273, Mercedes with 392, Hamilton 232, Russell in 8th, by the way, people, with 160 points. I think that is a flop from George Russell this season. I have to say that. Sainz in 4th in drivers 200, Charles Leclerc 188, 388 points for Ferrari, 284 points for McLaren, 273 points for Aston Martin, 120 points for Alpine, 28 points for Williams, 21 points for AlphaTauri, 16 points for Alfa Romeo, and 12 points for Haas. Now we move on to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the season finale. Well, there's nothing finale about it because it's the final race of a one-team dominant season, which it has been from Red Bull, as we head to the Yas Marina circuit for the final race weekend of the season, of the 2023 season. So, circuit end is 5.281 meters, 58 yards. First Grand Prix was in 2009. Race distance 306.183 meters. That record is, of course, Max Verstappen in that famous qualifying time in 2021, where it was a finale showdown between him and Lewis Hamilton, of course. So 16 turns in the Yas Marina circuit. The UK schedule: practice 1, 9:30 to 10:30 on Friday. 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. for practice 2 on Friday. For practice 3, Saturday morning, 10:30 to 11:30. For qualifying on Saturday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. and race start on Sunday at 1 p.m. So, everyone might say, it's going to be boring, but there is still some places to play for in terms of drivers and constructor standings. A race for fourth battle in terms of driver standings between 4 drivers: Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Lando Norris, and Charles Leclerc are going to be battling for fourth in terms of driver standings in the final race of the season. A race for second in constructor championship. 4 points is between Mercedes and Ferrari in the race for second. Race for fourth in constructors between McLaren and Aston Martin, which is an 11-point gap. And finally, well, I don't know. I think it will stay like that in terms of the race for seventh in constructors if we've been all being realistic, because all these teams do struggle to get in the points. But there's still a race for seventh in constructor standings. It's never known F1. All these teams might be in the points. Who knows? We may have carnage. But race for 7 constructors between Williams, AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, and Haas. But yeah, I do think the standards will stay like that, unfortunately, for all the teams there. Well, fortunately for Williams, but unfortunately for AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, and Haas, I think it will stay like that. So I don't think. So the way it's a battle really is terms race for fourth in driver standings and the race for second and fourth in constructors. And but yeah, in terms of my prediction for the race, this is what I've done for Max Verstappen to win the final race and to make it 19 wins out of 22. Carlos Sainz, I don't think Carlos Sainz have a good race in Abu Dhabi. I don't think him to win second. Perez third, Charles Leclerc fourth, Lewis Hamilton to finish in fifth. Norris in sixth, Russell seventh, Piastri eighth, Alonso ninth, and Darcy 10th. So I do think McLaren will keep hold of fourth place in the constructors. and I do think Ferrari will snatch second place in constructor standings, because I just don't think Mercedes have got the race car, in my opinion, to fight with Ferrari, in my opinion. I might be wrong, but looking at this circuit, it should suit Ferrari, in my opinion. Obviously, we might see a Ferrari on pole in terms of qualifying, and but I just don't think Mercedes have just got the car at all, to keep hold of second place in the constructors. So I do think Ferrari will snatch second place, and I do think Carlos Sainz will finish in fourth in the Drivers' Championship, and I think Charles Leclerc will finish behind him in fifth. Then Norris. Well, I think Sainz will get fourth anyways. I do think Sainz will get fourth, because you've seen it during the race between Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. Obviously, there's been team orders saying, to Carlos Sainz, hold position, but Carlos Sainz always seems to overtake Charles Leclerc. They've always seemed to be confused in terms of team radio, which is why I've done for Carlos Sainz to have a very good race in Abu Dhabi. So that's my prediction for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And yeah, obviously not much to play for, but in terms of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, there is race for fourth in driver standings, race for second in constructors, and race for fourth in constructors as well, all still to play for. So that is my F1 Las Vegas Grand Prix review, my F1 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix preview. Feel free to leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Take care, stay safe, still yeah, and I'll be back with another live stream, but this time for the darts. Take care and see you all later.